Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Donovan, and in this video, I want to talk about whether the Apple Watch Series 5 can be a watch for serious runners. And obviously, what you consider serious or what is a serious runner could be different for every single person. But just to give you a little bit of context, I'm a runner who's running currently around 70 to 80 miles a week, training for a marathon and potentially future ultra marathons as well. And so I would consider myself a fairly serious runner, and this is my go-to watch when it comes to tracking my workout.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I reviewed a ton of different watches. Currently, I'm reviewing some Amazfit watches, I have some Garmin watches and a couple Garmin watches on the way. I've also reviewed Coros and other name brand fitness watches, and the Apple Watch Series 5 is my go-to watch. And so when I talk about why that is, just note that that also is true for the Apple Watch Series 4. So everything I'm going to say that's positive and negative about the Apple Watch Series 5 when it comes to running is also true for the Series 4. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what I love about this watch. So number one is the accuracy. So obviously, in order to be a good fitness watch, you need really good accuracy when it comes to GPS. That's number one. And then number two, I would say heart rate. And in both cases, I would say this watch is spot on. So a lot of people don't necessarily trust optical heart rate sensors, but I have found this one to be super, super consistent. It is very accurate. I can wear a actual, chest heart rate monitor, and it is spot on with the Apple Watch. So it has been very consistent both with the GPS and with the heart rate sensor. So if that's a concern for you, this is definitely not a concern at all with the Apple Watch Series 5, and also again for the Series 4 as well, because both of them have fantastic GPS and heart rate sensors. So now let's move on to part number two, and that is the ability to listen to music on my run. So I am someone who loves to listen to music while I'm running, and the fact that I do not have to have my my phone with me while I'm working out is fantastic, because that's for me number one. I do not want to have to take my phone with me. So being able to use the GPS on here, the heart rate sensor, listening to music, or the other thing I like to do is listen to podcasts. So I have a bunch of podcasts I listen to, and you can see there's a whole bunch in here. Obviously, I listen to a lot of different podcasts, including a bunch of running podcasts. But the ability to be able to listen to podcasts while I'm out running is also phenomenal. So those two things, I would think, for me personally, are reasons why I love the Apple Watch Series 5. The other thing that it can do, which won't necessarily be true for everyone, you can see I have the LTE version, so that's what that little red ring symbolizes, but the ability to be able to take phone calls on the run as well. So I listen to it with, so my typical earbuds that I use, I do have some AirPods, but I actually don't use my AirPods with my Apple Watch. I use these TicPods 2 Pro, I think they are. And the ability to be able to take phone calls while I'm out running is really nice. Now, again, if you don't have the LTE version, you won't be able to do that, but it is nice to be able to have that option with the LTE version. All right, so now let's talk about the weaknesses. And the first weakness is very, very obvious, and that is the short battery life. So let's go back to it. Did a 20 miler here on the 7th. So I can tell you that I started at 100% battery that day. And here it is. And when I finished that run, I was still around 46%. So in a 20-mile run while listening to music and also tracking the GPS, I went through pretty much 54% of, 54% of the battery on the watch. So I would have been able to make it through a marathon, no problem. But if you're somebody who's running, ultra marathons, obviously this watch maybe won't be able to make it through an entire ultra marathon. So the battery life, I get about a day to about a day and a half. I just charge it overnight every night. But about a day and a half is about the maximum you can get on here. And if you're using the GPS and listening to music at the same time, it's going to burn through the battery pretty quick, which is what I always do. On a run, I'm always listening to either podcast or music. And so As a result, I get about a day and a half. Now, if you're someone who's a light user, you could definitely get through 2 days, but serious runners aren't going to be light users on this watch, especially with that GPS. And if you listen to music, it's going to go through even faster. The other thing that I would say is a weakness is there's no built-in way, especially with the app that it comes with for tracking your workouts. There's no way in this app to be able to do intervals or splits. So like, let's say you're trying to do like a workout on the track and you want to be able to take lap times. There's no built-in way to do that. So that brings me to what I consider the two must-have apps for the Apple Watch. So let's go ahead, and this is of course just for runners, but let's go ahead and take a look at this. So the first one is right here. It's called Healthfit. So this is for those of you that use Strava. So I'm a heavy Strava user, so you can follow me down here. It's the links in the description if you're interested in following me on Strava. But if you like to use Strava, by default, the workout app on the Apple Watch Series 5 does not have the ability to transfer to Strava. So I use this app called Healthfit right here. So I think it cost, I think it's $3.99 right now. So this is basically an app that you use to export your workouts to Strava. And you can also pick other things to export it to. And it does break your runs down a little bit more than what the actual app normally does. And you can see in here some health metrics and things like that. But let's go ahead and go down here into more. And these are the different things it can export your workouts to. So again, for me, the important one is Strava. But I guess if you wanted like maybe to map my run, because Under Armour is like a map my run, or map my run is an Under Armour app. And then like if you wanted to, for some reason, transfer it to Google, you could do that as well. But basically the purpose of this app is to transport your workouts to other apps that you use to track your fitness. So for me, that's of course Strava, and I use this to to export my workouts to Strava. The second one is the most important one to me, and this is called Work Outdoors. I actually did a video where I run through this app, but I'll go ahead and show it to you on the watch as well. So this one costs $5.99, so it's kind of expensive. But the reason why I like it so much is a number of things. Number one, you can see up here before you even start your workout, it's going to give you a GPS reading. So once that hits blue, then that means you're good to go. Right now, obviously I'm in my basement. It's not going to actually get it. But that's what that shows. Then your battery percentage. And then also up here, you have, of course, the time of the day. I can go in here to map and it'll show you where I'm at. Go back here. We're going to go into running. You can see some of the various options you have here. But we'll go into an open workout, and then you can do a countdown or you can choose to not do a countdown. You can just hit start, and we'll go ahead and end this right away. So then I just long press and hit end. But the other thing I wanted to show you is in the settings, here is the thing I like. There's a lot of things I like about this app, but you can adjust the settings like crazy. There's a whole bunch of things you can adjust in here. But one thing I want to show you is I like to turn off the calibrated distance estimate. So the only time I ever use that, so by default, the Apple Watch uses a calibrated distance. So it's using your stride length and your cadence to estimate your distance that you're working out in. So like if you use the default workout app, it's going to use the GPS, but it's also using that stride length and your calibrated cadence as well. So this allows you to turn those things off and only use GPS. So that's what I use because I prefer to only use GPS while I'm working out. I don't want it to use my stride length. I don't want it to use my cadence when it's tracking my workouts in terms of distance. So that's one thing. The second thing that's really important is the ability to completely control what it shows. So I'm going to go ahead and start a workout. We'll kill this one as soon as I get it open. But I can completely update whatever I want this to be. So this is if I'm doing intervals right here. So this is the time, the distance, this is my heart rate, average pace, and then this is the 1 mile average. Scroll over here. This is my interval page. So if I want to do intervals, I've made it so that these two buttons right here, if I push them simultaneously, it'll give me I accidentally hit on the interval. But if I hit the two buttons simultaneously, you can see it will do intervals for me. So that's how I make it so that I can actually track intervals on my Apple Watch Series 5. All right, so then I want to end the workout. I go ahead and hit end. Obviously, it's not going to save that because I didn't actually do any workout. I don't know why it went right back into that. The third screen, I should have showed you, also has maps. So it'll show you a map. So it does give you the ability to download maps. So if you're going to a place that you've never run in before, like for instance, you might be going to some new trails, it does give you the ability to download those trails. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the app real quick. So down here are my recent workouts. We're going to go into screens, or brighten that screen so that it's not so much of a reflection there. And this is where I can adjust those running screens. So you can see here, for me, that third screen is where I'm going to get the map. So you can completely customize these screens to whatever you want. So let's say I want to adjust this, and you can see all the various things that you can adjust. So let's say I want pace. And you can see within pace, there's a whole bunch of things that I can allow it to show in any one of these slots. And you can see that you can lay it out however you want. This is just how I like it to be. And then we'll go over to screen 2. Nope, that's changing my screen. I don't want to do that. Let's go into screen 3. So screen 3 you can see is when I do a new place, I'm going to go ahead and use the map so I can actually see the trails and things like that. And then it's still going to show me a bunch of the important things that I want over here on the side. And then this is where you're going to download maps. So let's say I want to go over to, there's a local trail over here called Sleepy Hollow. And Sleepy Hollow State Park has some really nice trails on it. I can download this map simply by holding down on it. And it's going to, so it says no need to download because I've already downloaded this map. But in case I'm going to a new trail, I can go ahead and download it. That way, when I go there, I'll know exactly where I need to turn and everything like that. So let's say, so Rose Lake is another place that I like to run sometimes. So you can see the trails there. So let's say I want to download those trails. I can download it in advance, and it'll send it to the watch. So if you don't have Signal, or if you don't have the LTE version of the Apple Watch Series 5, you can actually have the maps built into the watch, and it saves them there on the watch for you. So all kinds of things you can do with those two apps. For me, the Work Outdoors app is the most important. The Healthfit app as well is really nice because it transports everything over to Strava. But the Apple Watch Series 5 is my go-to watch for tracking workouts. Let me know if you have any questions down below. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful for you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
1, 2, 3, 4.